Hey there, James here. Hope you're having a good day and welcome to another one of my quick music theory lessons. Now, if you haven't checked it out already, do check out my book here, No Bull Music Theory for Guitar. It just shows guitar players 95% of the music theory they need to know. It's really easy to read, it's super easy to understand. I know because I was confused with the books I had when I was starting out, so I wrote the one that was really going to be easy to use, easy to learn from, and really made all this stuff make sense. So check it out, there's a link below and you can see some reviews and see the exact words from guitar players who have read it and how it's helped them. Anyway, enough about that. Let's get on to today's lesson, because in today's video we're going to talk about something very basic but something very important, and that is what are the notes that we actually use when we play music. Because there's basically 12 notes in all music. And when I say all music, I'm talking about the music from sort of Western countries. I'm not talking about Indian music and this kind of thing. That's kind of different. When we look on the piano or the guitar, there are basically 12 notes, okay? And we're going to look at what they're called and just some important stuff about them, because if you don't understand this, then other things can be a little bit confusing. So let's start right at the beginning with these notes. Basically, we have 7 letter names, the letters A through to G. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And these are what we call our natural notes. Okay, so those just the plain letter names. And that gives us 7 of our 12 notes. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And you can see I've written those out on my whiteboard here. Now, if I was going to play them on the guitar, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, you can see that there's some frets in between. We're going to get onto that in a moment. Think about the piano keyboard as well. These natural notes are just the white keys, but you'll know that there's black keys in between those white keys. So what's going on there? Well, these are the sharp and the flat notes, okay? And we're going to get onto that in a second. But first of all, before we do, one more time, really important, just the plain letter names are what we call the natural notes, and it's the letters A through to G in the alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay? Let's talk about those sharps and flats now. Really easy to understand. Just need to go through it in a sort of systematic way. So in between some of these notes, not all of them, we have some other notes. And these are like the black keys on the piano. So let's look at what those notes are. Now, in between A and B, we have what's called A sharp. And that's like A with like what we would call nowadays a hashtag sign. It's the sign for sharp when we're looking at music. A sharp. So in between A and B, we have the note A sharp. Now, let's think about this. That has another name, that note. We can think of it as going up from A to get A sharp. We could also think of it as coming down from B. And when we come downwards, we call the note a flat. So A sharp could also be called B flat, and each of these sharps has a flat name as well, as we're going to see in a moment. Now, someone out there is probably wondering, well, which one do we use? And that's it's not always that important, but it depends on the situation. So I'm going to kind of skip over that a little bit now. Just get used to thinking of them as both with both names and understand they have 2 names. Okay, but which one we use doesn't always matter that much. Now let's look at our next pair of notes, B and C. Now, in between B and C, there is no sharp or flat, all right? And if you look on the piano keyboard, in between the B and C keys, there is no black note. And that's why. It's because there simply is not a note in between it. So I'm going to leave that one blank. B and C, there is no note between those 2. Now, in between C and D, we have C sharp, which we now know we could also call D flat. In between D and E, we have D sharp, which also could be called E flat. Let's move on. Hope this is making sense. In between E and F, it's a bit like B and C. There is no note in between E and F. So E and F has nothing in between it. E goes straight to F. Let's look at our next one, F to G. Between F and G, we have F sharp, which we could also call G flat. And in between the notes G and A, we're going to have G sharp, which we could also call A flat. Okay, now, I didn't mention this, but the sign for flat is like a little B. The sign for sharp, as I said, is like a hashtag. And you're going to see that all over music. And if you're ever not sure what it means, well, now you know. They're the signs for sharps and flats. So that is our 12 notes. Let's count them. We've got A sharp or B flat, B, C, C sharp or D flat, D, D sharp or E flat, E, F, F sharp or G flat, G, G sharp or A flat, and A. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 notes before we get back to our A and back to the start. Now, this has hopefully made perfect sense for you. It's really important to understand this because then you understand chords and scales and keys and all sorts of things. So this is really music theory starting right at the beginning. I call this the musical alphabet. That's just the name that I call it. You'll also hear it called the chromatic scale, but I think musical alphabet is a little bit easier to deal with when you're getting started, and that's what I call it in my book. So that's really all I wanted to cover today. That's the musical alphabet. That's all 12 notes. You now know what sharps and flats are. A couple of key points from this lesson. Remember, there is no sharp or flat between B and C, and there is no sharp or flat between E and F. Now, one thing I need to do actually is just relate this to the guitar. So, if I was to play up these notes on the guitar, you'll see this happening. So I'm going to start at A at the 5th fret. My next note would be A sharp or B flat. My next fret up would be B. My next fret up is going to be C because there is no B sharp or C flat. The next fret up is going to be C sharp or D flat. The next fret up is going to be D. The next one up is D sharp or E flat. The next fret up is E. Then there's no E sharp or F flat, so the next fret after E is going to be F. The next one is F sharp or G flat. The next one is G. Next fret is G sharp or A flat. And then I'm back to A where I started. So you can see how this relates to the fingerboard of the guitar. That'll help you get used to using it and thinking this way. Anyway, I hope this lesson's made sense for you and it's useful, and some of this stuff's maybe blown away any confusion you had about this. Do check out my book if you want to blow away even more confusion. Really easy to read, really easy to use. Goes through everything in the right order. In a couple of months you can just quadruple or 10x your knowledge of music theory. So do check it out if this is something which you think you need to know about. And I believe all guitar players need to know really what's in this book. It really helps us make music, write songs, be better improvisers, all this kind of stuff. Anyway, that's all from me today, so thanks a lot for watching. Any questions, bung them down in the comments below. Check out the book and subscribe so you don't miss any of my future lessons. And have a great day, and I'll catch you next time.